Hey everyone, I'm so excited today to have Emily here and to be talking about one of my favorite topics, receiving.
I am so excited to be here. Honestly, the topic of the century and the way we speak about it is so similar that I think this is going to be the most fruitful conversation ever.
And I think it is so needed. You inspired me so much around receiving. I learned about feminine energy in maybe 2020, but it really was when I started connecting with you online and you were sharing so much around receiving that I realized how important this one area is. And I used to really struggle to receive back in the day. I'm a strong, independent woman. I can do everything on my own, like, wouldn't even really let my partner do anything for me.
Yeah.
And then I was just burnt out, basically, because that's what happens.
Yeah, literally. I think it's so lacking from, first of all, the coaching industry, because the coaching industry doesn't want us to believe that things can be easier than they are.
Yep.
I'm going to take it there. I'm going to go there. So there's that, because then that helps people make money through continuous conditioning of hustle mentality. And there's the other element of like, I mean, how does it even benefit us to be in a relationship where we have to do everything anyway? Like, how does that even benefit us? I feel like there's so many dimensions to the concept of receiving, and it goes so wide. And I'm sure you've seen that with your clients as well. But like, when you look at the systems that really like push this mentality, you see where the benefits go, and you see where we start lacking because of that mentality. So it's such a needed conversation, and I think it's a really, as much as people are starting to see it and speak about it, I still think it's hugely lacking in society and the industry that we're in.
Definitely. We're not taught to receive at
No.
all. Full stop. And as we learn to receive in all areas of our life, it literally just makes life feel so magic. And like you said, it gets to be easier than what you think. I definitely grew up, obviously, in this masculine dominated society, like everyone else did, but thinking that what you do equates to then what you receive.
Yeah.
And I know now that that's not true.
Yeah. And putting your worth into everything you do. And I think even for me, especially the first few years, probably 3 out of 4 years of the relationship I had, I was that person. Like I thought in order for him to stay, which is really sad, in order for him to like stay around, I had to give more. I had to give money that I didn't actually have, like resources that I didn't even have available for myself. I felt like I had to give, think for both of us, do. And like it was really confronting to actually receive in my relationship. I think there's still a lot of healing that I need to do around that. Obviously, now I'm a single woman, but it does come up in relationships still. Like, actually, interestingly, I've been having this reflection recently. If I'm dating a man and there's no feelings, like no emotional connection, I can receive. When I'm dating a man and there's an emotional connection, I struggle to receive because of the intimacy that's paired with it. And I was like, damn, that's a revelation. What does that even represent?
Yes, love this awareness. Single ladies together now.
Yeah. It's like a whole lesson, and then it like applies differently because obviously we're singles, we've got more space to think about it. Then you think of the actual like, application in like real life situations, and you're like, oh God, like, okay, this is very interesting. But I'm a very aware person, so I never like make it mean anything about me. But I think the awareness is really interesting.
Definitely. Also, I think receiving from people you know, like potentially a lot of people feel comfortable receiving from people like parents and maybe long-term partners, but also versus people you don't know. For example, when you are starting to date, and also knowing what you want to receive.
Mm.
Because I think since I've become open to receiving, I've just been receiving in abundance. Not specifically money, but just
Yeah.
little things. So many compliments, new people into my life. Yeah, that it's just been so magic. Before we get too far in, I feel like
Yeah,
we need to do a little intro on who you
sure.
are, what you do.
Yeah, so I always say at the beginning of podcasts, I really struggle to put myself in a box. And
Yeah,
actually, at the
I
moment,
don't want you in one.
yeah, I'll have to say like here's like 5, 7, 10 different identities that make me me because it doesn't work. But my name's Emily. I have pivoted recently actually from business coaching back into life coaching. But
Yes.
typically what I help people with is their relationship with receiving. It could be business, it could be pricing, it could be charging what they deserve to receive without having to give more. It could be healing their relationship with people pleasing. It could be overgiving, it could be hustle mentality, it could be overachieving, but really like the very foundation of what I do with my clients is them believing and feeling like they're good enough again, because that
Hmm.
goes through every element of your life. Like you believing you're good enough, the very belief that society doesn't want you to believe is going to change your life. And it's gonna have you're gonna have this glow about you because you're completely unstoppable when you no longer have like ridiculously high expectations on yourself. So yeah, I help people move through the world in a different energy, I guess.
Absolutely love that. And I know your background is you've got, is it a master's in
Yeah,
philosophy?
yeah. That, you know what? It's kind of a vibe to say it. I'm like, huh, yes, I do. And I'm actually thinking about doing a PhD because my heart is just in it completely, even though it's like a crazy thing to do, my heart is in it. But yeah, I did a master's in research. So I basically got to research any area of interest. I ended up doing my dissertation in desire and like the nature of desire and what Buddhists think about desire and whether that's the cause of suffering or whether it's not. And I kind of came to my own conclusions, which then became the Port Receiving philosophy, which is now my philosophy, which I teach, which is
Yes.
amazing.
And how did you get into this in the first place?
So this is such a good story actually. I picked my A levels shortly after, obviously, I did my GCSEs, and I did really well in like the humanities topics like history, RS, typically really good in those. But I was like, oh, what do I want to do in my life? Probably like the psychology route. So I picked psychology, picked health and social care, like all the things like my brain was like, oh, that's what you're meant to do.
Hmm.
And then like I was doing an open day. So I was one of those like representatives at the school for the open day. And I bumped into my philosophy teacher, Mr. Jones, who I actually still am in contact with, which is crazy. And he was like, Emily, you got like an A in RS. Why did you not pick it? And I was like, because it doesn't really make sense with like the career that I want to do. And he was like, not fuck it, but like fuck it. Like I remember it was 2 months into studying for the A levels. He was like, you know, you could still change the subjects. And I was like, okay. Next day, I go back to school and I'm like, I'm going to drop health and social care. I'm literally learning about, I don't even know what from textbook with no other inspiration. Like, he was the most inspirational teacher of all time. Like, he would just sit on the desk and it was very practical applications, you know, about euthanasia and all these topics. And I was like, hmm. So, anyway, I dropped the subject, picked up philosophy. Wow, Effy, that I was like, I don't want to call it top student, but it basically was because I was like thriving. Like I was just like, this is me. So yeah, because of Mr. Jones, I studied philosophy, got A stars with it. And what was interesting is I did my degree in psychology and philosophy because I still hadn't decided, you know, which one was for me. And then I did a mental health placement in Bali in my second year. And I hated the psychology placement. I hated every single second of it, which is so interesting because I still think through quite a psychological lens some of the time. But I loved I was thriving doing philosophy at uni. I was getting all my top grades in philosophy. It became so naturally. I was like, you know, president, you know, of the philosophy society, you name it, I was doing it. I was obsessed. And then it came to like the end of the degree, and I'd done really, really well in the philosophy, and the psychology is what kind of took me down a level, which was fine. Didn't deep it too much. And I was like, right, I'm not done with studying. What is she going to do? I picked philosophy and I just went all in because every sign pointed me to philosophy. And it's like,
Hmm.
that makes no logical sense. Like, what are you going to do with philosophy? Here I am, embodying my own philosophy, teach my own philosophy, potentially be a philosophy teacher one day, who knows? PhD on the cards. But like, it never made sense to anyone. And I just kept following those little nudges. But Mr. Jones was the reason why
Yes.
I got to this point.
I love that. And it just shows how impactful one person can be in your life and those small nudges of encouragement. And I just absolutely love the ripple effect when you're doing the thing that you love and you're so lit up by it. You're going to make massive impact. And then I could just tell by your body language how excited you were just talking about philosophy
Yeah.
and your teacher and how that topic made you feel. And I love that you went with that and you're like, yeah, fuck it, I am going to change 2 months in because I can make changes and I don't have to stick by the things I've already chosen. I don't have to follow logic. Yeah, and just
I love it.
yeah, following what lit you up.
I think what I love about philosophy so much as like a general, like what philosophy is it makes you question how you think.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people get trapped. Like, for example, when I spoke to my sister about philosophy many years ago, she wasn't ready for it. She was like, yeah, but there's no answer. There's no solution. And I was like, that's literally the entire point. Like, me and you could have a discussion about God and whether God exists. The point is not to decide if God exists. It's to like really question the way you think, your beliefs, your reasoning. Like even logic. People don't think philosophy is logical. It fucking is. Like it actually is. You've got to really think deep.
I would have really struggled with that back in the day. I
Yeah.
am someone who is so open-minded now, and I love these kind of conversations, and I'd be so interested in learning more about philosophy. I do read lots of interesting books, but I used to be a very black and white person.
Mm.
And for a long time, my favorite subject was maths. I was like, it's right, it's wrong, I can get 100% in
Wow.
it. Yeah, but again, It does change over time, but it took me until I was probably like 26, 27 to become like more open to
Yeah.
completely different things. So yeah, again, it's interesting people's journey. Sometimes you can be quite young and be into this kind of stuff. Sometimes it takes a little while to get there, and there's no right or wrong either.
No, exactly. So what changed for you, do you think, when it came to like being more of like the mathematical type? Like was there an activation that led you to be more open-minded, or was it
I
just life?
think definitely traveling. I went traveling when I was 22. That definitely expanded my mind to what's possible. I started seeing what lots of other people were doing, even to the point of people like being vegetarian. I was like, why are they vegetarian? One of my friends was vegetarian at home, and I thought it was weird. And now, like, basically been vegan for like 7 years, and I would have
Yeah.
never expected that from being the biggest meat eater. But yeah, that kind of opened my mind. I still was, I was living an unconventional life, but more like travel-y vibes.
Mhm.
But still kind of conforming to the norm with like a normal job when I got to New Zealand. And then I think it was my burnout that I was like, this is not working. To be logical and to be doing all the normal stuff and thinking in the normal way is not working for me. And that's when I was actually such a hypochondriac, and I read this book, You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay, and it spoke all about the emotional causes of physical symptoms. And I was like, wow. I've always been interested in spirituality, but only really like dipped my toes in it. But I just went like full force into everything spiritual, all of these like alternative practices, was
Mm.
like found out about Reiki, went to like wild women's circles, and yeah, I was like, I love this.
It's like liberating at the core.
Yeah.
I love it. Isn't it crazy? Like we all, I don't know, like we embody this as if it's natural now, but like it's taken a whole journey for us to view the world this way.
Yeah, yeah. And I was very not trusting in life. I was scared that something bad was going to happen to me, always trying to control everything because I thought I needed to. And it
Mm.
is so freeing to realize that you don't have to do that. And
Yeah.
I do think obviously receiving plays a big part in it. When you actually receive support from other people, you have so much more free time. I was micromanaging, like I wasn't a manager, but I wouldn't give anyone away my work at work. I would take
Yeah.
it all. Then people would give me extra stuff. And then I was crying all the time because I literally couldn't do it all. But I
No.
was doing it to myself, like unknowingly, like,
Yeah.
oh, only I can do this. And then like only I can cook the dinner as well, and only I can do these things.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
but
so scary, isn't it? Because really, like, what we don't see when that's happening is that our self-worth is wrapped up in like the doing and the
yeah.
micromanaging. And I think sometimes, and I see this still in clients now, like they think their output, they're doing that thing or they're doing it that way because that's where the money's at. But it's
Mhm.
not, because let's say they earned 6 grand a month, I always use this example, but like 6 grand a month and they did 2 to 3 days of intentional work. Let's just imagine the discomfort wouldn't come from doing less necessarily. It would come from the fact they're actually receiving more whilst doing less. So it's not even about like the money's like sorted. Let's imagine like the money, the solution that they think the doing is going to create is done. Their problem is their self-worth is tied in the doing. Like it gives them a sense of meaning and purpose. Whereas obviously what you speak about is purpose being something so much bigger than that. Like is something in you, no matter what job you do, title you have, label you have. And I just realized like a lot of what we do, we think we're doing it for money, we're doing it for security, we're doing it for like the outcome, but we're not. We're doing it because our sense of self is wrapped up in our doing and our achievements, not even the money, which is
People
crazy.
would feel guilty for receiving for less than they think they like deserve. I still struggle with that sometimes.
Yeah,
Like I'm like, oh, will people find this valuable? Will they
yeah,
think it's worth that amount of money? X, Y,
yeah,
Z.
yeah. And it's because of the conditioning. Like I think it will take as much as like we can decondition. I think a lot of what where I've come to in my mindset is a really good place. But like deconditioning, I think it takes so many years because you're going against what society is literally preaching every day. That's not a bad thing because we're still liberating ourselves.
Definitely, it's such a journey, and I think one piece is, well, the biggest piece really is people just don't believe it's possible for
Yeah.
them.
We haven't seen the evidence yet.
Yeah, I like that we get to be the evidence.
Yeah, yeah. And then they can receive the evidence, but it starts with like leaning back from the conditioning, which is the difficult part. But it's possible,
Yeah.
100%.
And I think we can practice receiving in such small ways. Everyone can practice receiving more, and this creates a massive compound effect and ripple effect in your
Yeah.
life. My clients now, even just journaling weekly on what have you received this week,
Yeah,
they're like, wow, I actually have received so much.
so
And for a
much.
period of time, I was doing that daily as well, just to
Yeah,
kind of experiment with it. And it's like, oh, I received a really lovely message from someone. I received this compliment, this
yeah.
testimonial. Someone bought me a coffee, or even someone smiled at me.
Because it's a different way of thinking, isn't it, to a gratitude list? Like what
Yeah,
I experience when I do a receiving list is very different to like me being like, okay, I'm grateful for this for the sun, I'm grateful for this. Like you look at life through the lens of what you're receiving from yourself and what feels like an experience of receiving, and then you like start to notice what's unexpected. So then you get that's even more exciting. So yesterday, for example, I was helping my mum clean our local village hall, and my sister's being she's Cinderella in December in our little village pantomime, and I'm gonna go to like 3 or 4 because I just can't wait to see her. And my mum was like, "Oh, by the way, like that's your tickets paid for because you've done the cleaning." I was like, "Oh." Like I'd already mentally put money to one side and mentally try and figure out, okay, where my expense is going to come from this month, blah blah blah. And then I finished hoovering. She's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, like let's call it quits with the tickets." And I was like, "This is so cool." And it just happens, doesn't it? Like a domino effect when you start noticing it.
definitely. And I think part of it is the detachment. If you're
Yeah,
expecting to receive stuff, you're less likely to receive it.
yeah, and because it might come through a different way than you're expecting it to altogether. Like in this year, it's been a huge year of grief for me. Like coming out of my relationship, I thought it would take like a month or two. No, maybe I predicted it was going to take a year, to be fair, and I was quite right. But like I thought after like the first 1 or 2 months I'd be okay, and I just wasn't. And like I was like, shit, how am I going to be like financially supported in this? Like, I didn't want to put pressure on my business. I didn't want to operate from forcing the business because that's not fair on like me, and it's not fair on my clients and people watching my marketing. And then like this massive, large lump sum of money came into my life, like 5 figures, and I was like, what? So like I've been able to be supported as well as like the business income that was already coming in, like the revenue. I could let myself let my income drop because I was financially supported in that decision to just grieve. And like that might be a crazy thing to say. And also I'm saying that from a very privileged point of view, but it was also very unexpected and like wasn't planned and accounted for. And I just think magic just happens when you realize you're so innately worthy. You're so innately worthy.
The universe literally wants to support you. I love the phrase, the universe literally wants to fuck you with abundance.
Yeah, I love that. I've actually never heard that, but it's so good.
And I
So
see
good.
recently, like, the universe is not on a budget. So, like, why are we
Yeah.
asking for less?
Yeah. It's like maybe we can expect more, but not from an attached place. Like if
Yeah.
we are like the magnet, if we're the main character and we just assume we're going to be given to and provided for, not because like we're self-righteous, whatever the word is, but like because we just are, like we're amazing and like we're magical. We've got this energy that just changes the world. Of course, things are going to come to us, but we have to believe that.
Definitely. And I think that we are receiving more when we're in alignment with our true path and purpose.
100%.
When you're doing the things like living the life that you're meant to be living, and I know some people might struggle with that phase, but if you feel like you're moving in the right direction, like our paths are not linear and they can always be changing. And I do say like your purpose is to be authentically you. But yeah, if you're moving towards that life, you're looking after your health, you're doing things that bring you joy, you're going to be way more likely to receive.
Yeah, or you're like, let's say someone's who like is living out of their purpose or out of alignment, they might be like, okay, so but I'm receiving my monthly income, so what does that mean? Yeah, you're gonna resent that though. You're gonna be like, I put so much output into receiving that, and you're gonna resent. It will never feel enough for you because the life you're living isn't in alignment. And also, this was so crazy what happened last week. So obviously, I've been making this pivot back into life coaching, and like I've been really putting strategy to bed and like not like I just want to be me. So I've been just being me and just being even weirder online and just myself, right? And I put a couple of reels out and I was not thinking too much about it. And then I get an email from someone I was in contact with like years ago, who came through a previous mentor. I completely forgot this person existed because I think we were emailing in like 2023. And overnight, she'd bought my like something I wasn't even selling, like a class I wasn't even selling. And then she sent me like the most nice emails you've ever read about like how I'm showing up online, how she's going to be starting a business, she's going through XYZ, and that she's been watching my master classes and blah blah blah. And I'm like, this is crazy. Like, this isn't a product of me doing more. This isn't a product of me like forcing. And it's not a product of me being like, oh, this is how I'm going to make money. It's just me being in my purpose. And then that's come through like 2 years after that contact had ended with like basically a pen pal. I just think that's so cool.
It's so cool. And it just comes back to the more you're living your purpose and you're doing what's right for you, you will just like naturally attract people and you're just influencing people by being you.
Yeah.
And I think without that expectation of I'm not doing it for anything, I'm
Yeah.
just doing it because I feel called to do it and listening to your intuition. I
Yeah.
get it all the time with little ideas. Oh, you should post about this. And then I do it, and someone's like, oh, I so resonate with
Yeah.
that. And I'm like, okay, cool. That's why I posted it. But it
Yeah.
didn't matter, even if no one did, because often we
Yeah.
don't even see the ripple effect
Impact.
either of what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love this work so much. Do you feel like it's how, obviously, I imagine it will be, but like this is how you move through life when it's not like in your business? Like, do you naturally like think this way, I guess, and like think about the impact you have as a just who you are when you like walk around?
I don't really actively think about it now, but like it, and I always, every single time I get a message or a comment from someone, like I feel so grateful for
Yeah.
it. I don't think that will ever get old. But yeah, I think I've just seen so much evidence that you being you and doing what's right for you is what's right for everyone else that
Yeah.
yeah, it just motivates me even more to do
Yeah.
what I want to do.
It's like changing lives and intuition at a time. It literally is.
Definitely. And it just makes me so happy, like seeing the ripple effect. So recently I've held some in-person events and then people have then gone on to create their own events. And I'm just like, I love seeing this work.
Yeah, because they're then stepping into their purpose as well.
Yeah.
So nice.
A little bit random, but again, receiving in a different way. I went back to New Zealand after being back in England last year, and it was the first time I was moving abroad without a partner. I'd literally been with my ex for like 7 years, pretty much the whole time I'd been away. And I was a little bit nervous of moving to a different city where I did know people, but I've changed so much in the last few years with building a business and like being more spiritual. And I was like, oh, like I feel like I'm really going to have to like create a community for myself there of like-minded people who are interested in the same things as me. And I guess this was a bit of a limiting belief that I had. I guess it came from the logical side of me that was like, this is what you will need, so you'll have to create it. And I was so pleasantly surprised that I did not need to create it and it found me. And I
Wow.
think it was like holding the intention of like, this is what I want and putting it out there,
Yeah.
plus the like living in alignment, being my true self, showing my authenticity, and then following the nudges. One day I had this thought to post on LinkedIn and asked people to basically go out for a coffee with me where I was
Hmm.
living. And someone had messaged it saying, oh, I think that you'll get along with my friend. She also used to work like in corporate and now she's a life coach. I went around her house the next day for a cup of tea, and then she built this community that I just fell into. And I was
Wow.
like, wow, I don't need to create it. I can actually just receive it. And I
Yeah.
think it's that piece as well coming back from I don't need to control everything.
Yeah.
I just need to put out there what I want.
Yeah. Because imagine if you'd gone in with expectations of like, I need to form a community. It's going to be one person, then two people, then three people, and like hustled to create it, or like thought I can't thrive without it as well. I think that it's that belief, isn't it? Like I'll be okay, and like who I am is what will make me receive that thing. What I love as well is that you planted a seed. Like I think this is how we really kind of create even more magnetism. It's like I don't need to force this, but where can I plant a seed and then trust? And then you trusted, and then you received in the way that you always meant to. And I think that's magic. And we don't even
Yeah.
know the impact of that one seed.
I know. And then the aligned action. I think so
Yeah.
many people take action, but not that I
Random.
think there's anything wrong with messy action, but
Yeah.
action in all different areas, and
Yeah.
a lot of it can waste time and make you feel burnt out, but it's the aligned action that is going to get you to where you're supposed to be.
100%. 100%. Do you know what I've been thinking about a lot this year as well? Like people's fear of making mistakes really, really holds them back from
Yeah.
anything. Like business, career, relationships, healing in any form. Like even coming out of my relationship, I was so afraid of like making mistakes even in my healing journey. Like I didn't expect that at all because I've removed a lot of like actionism from my mind, and like you know how we operate with like expectations of how things should be a lot. I thought I'd like mastered that, and it came to like how to heal from my look up. And it's been like I wouldn't say it's like been the messiest process, but it's been quite messy, like up, down, up, down, up, down. And I think because it was my first breakup, I was in such a vulnerable position where when it came to self doubt that I let other people's perspectives on how I should heal really come into me. And I don't know if this is irrelevant, but it feels relevant. Like I spent a lot of time on TikTok being like, oh, people say you should be no contact. People say this, people say this. Oh, people say this about relationships. Oh, this is why my breakup happened. And it wasn't even actually useful. And like the more I allowed myself to make quote unquote mistakes, the more I healed. I healed through it, through like just trial and error.
Love that. And it is like a connection to yourself, what is right for you. And I think it's so amazing to have support from other people, but what's right for other people isn't necessarily what's right for us.
Yeah.
So yeah, just giving your
That.
permission, yourself permission to do what's right for you and just try it out. And I don't believe that we could really make mistakes
No, I
because
don't either.
we can learn from everything.
It's like a self-trust piece, isn't it? Like, I think my biggest lessons have come from like most likely making a decision that someone else wouldn't. I don't know, because that is self-trust, isn't it? But like what I've had to realize and what I've learned this year is like a lot of people, they'll say what they want to say to protect you, but like the only person who can really do that is you, like, because it's your life.
Yeah, do you know what, something else I've realized recently too? A lot of people are scared to tell you the truth or
Yeah,
like what they really think,
yeah,
even close friends, because they don't want to upset you. But I'm
yeah,
like, no, I'm asking you because I really want to know. And it's not that I'll think that what you say is fact or
yeah,
anything like that, but I really value honesty, and
yeah,
sometimes I need a little bit of a wake up call or like a
yeah,
truth from someone else,
yeah.
because when my friends have shared that with me over the last year, and again, I've had a lot of aha moments with
Mm,
also being single for this year, which is
mm,
yeah, just been different to what I
yeah,
expected. And then a friend will reflect something back to me and I'm like, oh, I never thought of it like that. And
yeah,
yeah, that piece of information is actually really supporting me to like grow
yeah.
or think in different ways.
That's so interesting.
I'm someone who always does want to tell the truth, that
Yeah.
but it's just interesting how many people do want to please other people and don't want to upset
Yeah.
them.
It's just interesting. I feel like I want to do some research now on the philosophy of lying and whether it's like good ethics or bad, because I think that this has come up for me this year, actually, like the top, even the theme of lying, which I didn't expect to come up on the podcast today. Um, and I think what I realized as well this year is I am a massive oversharer, and I've had to realize where is that coming from in me, like when it comes, because I felt, especially through like the healing stage this year, I felt like I had to declare my entire process to every single friend, and then in doing so, because the intention was probably to get their approval rather than just be, I then got all their feedback on my decisions, which then dysregulated me and made me doubt my decisions. And I think what I realized is like, you don't have to tell everyone everything, but if they ask you, you can. So it's
Yeah.
like there's a choice, there's literally a choice in everything. And like there's just things about me that have happened this year that I'm like, I actually don't need to share this with the world. And that's cool. I don't know if I see it as lying.
I don't think that's lying.
No.
I actually love this conversation because, firstly, I don't really like the phrase oversharing because
Mm.
I think that it makes it sound negative or something bad
Yeah.
when actually I really like the honesty and the openness. And I
Mm.
love how people are sharing more vulnerably
Yeah.
online. And every time I do that, people reach out to me and they're like, oh, I'm so
Yeah.
happy that you've shared that because I feel that way too. And I've never, heard other people speak about it before. So I think there is like some magic with sharing
Completely.
extra things.
Yeah.
But I also think, like you said, it is a choice and you don't have to share everything.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like share what you want to share. And
Yeah.
I'm sure
Yeah.
that there'll be benefits from that. But yeah, we don't have to share
Yeah.
whole lives or every
100%.
aspect.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's like knowing what the quote unquote right environment is for it, I think. Because I think as well, if we do call it oversharing and like that doesn't sit right for someone, it could basically reinforce that feeling that you're too much as a person as well. And I think my experiment through dating this year has been where is safe to take up space, like with who, and just show it to everyone and then see who enjoys that. And if I feel more squished, it's not the right space and the right environment. It's kind of like an experiment. And
Yes.
actually, can I tell you a funny story?
Yes.
Okay, so it's a dating story.
We love it.
Okay, so basically, I was talking to this guy. I knew him like quite a few years ago. He's also a philosopher. Oh my god, he'll hopefully never find his podcast. But We'll see. I knew him from studying philosophy, so it's kind of cool that that like came back into my life. Anyway, I was like very much in my like free experimental season, and when I was like messaging him, there's a lot of messages exchanged. It was really fun. Like I know a lot of people don't like texting. I actually do when it's fun, like fun conversations. And I basically gave him like a 10-step quiz about me just for fun. Like, what are my 3 favorite Taylor Swift songs? Because this is me. Like, I'm fun, I'm weird, like spontaneous. Like, I've got these lot of qualities about me. So like, throughout the days, I was asking him like these 10 questions, and some of them had categories, and like it was just fun. And he went along for the ride. Like, he's not a big Taylor. Well, he's probably not a Taylor Swift fan at all. But he did his research. Like, he picked the songs. He sent me the screenshots. He was like, "Are these your 3 favorite?" And I was like, "That is hilarious." First of all, that is hilarious. But that is someone meeting my, I don't know, like personality edges, like someone who can literally not just reciprocate but show me that they can like meet my fun edges. I don't even know how to explain it. It was just one of these things where I was like, wow, that wasn't even too much to ask to do like a 10-step quiz process with someone I haven't been in contact with for like 5 years.
Definitely, when you're being your full version of yourself, you will attract people that
Meet.
like it.
Yeah,
Yeah. And also if they don't, that's no problem. It's just
yeah,
that they're not the right person for you, and
yeah,
it's not personal or
yeah,
anything. Oh, I love that for you.
yeah. This year's been very funny, very, very weird and funny.
I mean, me too.
Yeah. Do you have any cool stories or like weird stories, like quickly,
Oh,
or
I'm
ones?
trying to think off the top of my head. I feel like I have been attracting a mixture of people who all have different qualities that I really admire. I would say no one's like the full package,
Yeah.
but like also I'm detached. I don't need that. I'm just looking, and every time I receive someone who is has things I really admire, I'm I'm like, I'm getting closer.
Yeah.
Like, I love that I'm receiving these qualities. They're all things that I want. And I've actually created a list of like what
Yeah.
I want within someone. And I'm like, these are all the things that are really important to me. And the more I feel like I refine that list, the more I receive people who are similar to me in some way. And like some of the people I've been meeting are just friendships. But even that, I'm like, oh, the friendships that I'm receiving are feeling really aligned.
Yeah.
And like male friendships as
Mm.
well. I'm like, this is all just a taster.
Yeah, it's like information, isn't it? It's like an
Yeah.
evidence bank. And I think it's such a nice season to be in where you can like experiment and receive in all these different ways. Like I was reporting back to my mum a lot on like the back of my dates because she's just like a curious lady. And I was like, it's so interesting because I've received in that way and then I've received in that way and then received in that way. But like you said, like not there hasn't been like one man who's done all of that, but like it's just been interesting to experience it, and you can receive in that way before you're even in a relationship, which I think past Emily would never have believed. You can like enjoy that for what it is, even if it's impermanent. I think a lot of people struggle with like impermanency, if that's the word. But actually life is impermanent, relationships can be impermanent, like there's a lot of full circle moments in life through lessons and seasons, and it's amazing just experiencing for what it is without having to like find extra meaning and analyze it as well.
I feel exactly that. And I feel like maybe I've got a few things I'll share just for the people listening, just to know that this is possible. And yeah, like things I have received. So one person, every time they came round, they brought with them food, which I thought was so sweet.
Wow.
Like they'd come round with like strawberries or something every time. One person, this is just a friend, but they like made me a bath. Like they had an outdoors bath. They heated it up for 4 hours
Oh my
for
God.
me, put rose petals in it. And this is the things you can have platonic male friendships that
Yeah.
also do these amazing things from you. And you can receive
Yeah.
from friendships as well. Yeah, another one I was going on like whole weekend dates, and they were planning stuff and taking me here and there, and we were turning our phones off. And um yeah, I'm just like, there are really magic experiences that you can receive when you're open to it. But I do think a lot of them were because I wasn't pushing or forcing for it
Yeah.
to have to be something. And I'm allowing myself to be led. I would never have allowed myself to have had that before. I would have been like, I have to plan the dates. I
Mm.
have to put in input. And one of the people actually shared with me, I'm really loving that you let me lead, and that's something that I really want within like a something in the future. And this is the thing, is when you let someone give to you, that's actually a gift to them as well.
Oh God, I love this so much. I feel like this is healing for so many people to hear. And like even still for me, like there's always an extra depth to it and a layer to it. I think that's it, isn't it? Because a lot of people believe that you're taking something away, you're removing resources from someone if you accept what they're giving to you, when actually, and I don't know if you think it relates to like the healthy masculine, healthy feminine, whatever you want to call it, but that someone in their healthy masculine does want to give and provide, and that it gives them the gift, like by doing so. But trust in that means stepping out of your hyper independence, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I've always wanted to soften into my feminine, and I think it definitely is the masculine and feminine. I can do that when like there's masculine, and it doesn't have to be a male because I have had this kind of dynamic with women as well. And I have one woman, and again, she is actually just a friend, but she was leading the date that we were on. Not date, but like with
Yeah.
the day that we were on. So it doesn't
Yeah.
have to be male v female at all. But when I'm led and I feel like supported, then I can soften into my feminine. If I don't feel that, then I will start like taking action and doing stuff. And I do want to like do as well. It's not to say that I'm only ever receiving and I'm never giving to anyone or anything like that, because I do love to give. I am a giving person. I'm a nurturer, but it's like, how can I give my natural strengths and qualities and not feel like I have to give? And I do think a lot of relationships would flourish if women felt safe to be able to receive more and to soften.
How do you think we start that process? Let's say it was me and you, or like a year, 2 years, 3 years ago. How would you start the process for someone who's like maybe in a relationship or dating and they don't feel that natural softening happening?
I think communication is key to every single relationship, and I would be communicating with my partner what I would like, and then trusting that they will do it, not trying to force or push them to do it, but like sharing that this is what you would like, and then allowing.
Yeah. And give it basically making space, isn't it? Like not expecting things to like change overnight.
Yeah. What about you? Have you got any input?
Oh, um, I I don't know. I have a lot of answers to this, but I'm thinking about how it's impacted me this year. My mind is in going in all sorts of stories. Because I've like experienced a lot of like situations this year where it's just like happened very naturally and organically. I think you need to be in a situation where you feel emotionally safe to express your needs and desires as well, like
Yeah.
the communication side. I think from what I've experienced, like you said, not making space to receive exactly how you do it, but like noticing when you're already fearing some kind of rejection, right? So like if you want something but you fear you like even subconsciously you don't deserve it, that's where your micromanaging and controlling the outcome will kick in and you'll enter your masculine energy. I think noticing that and leaning back, even if it feels really unnatural, lean back really lands with me every time I teach it. But like leaning back, it could be a physical leaning back, a mental leaning back, an energetic leaning back and pouring into yourself, and it can never go wrong. That
Yes.
creates non-attachment, so it can never go wrong.
Totally agree. Yeah. And I would say, yes, there's a part that you can work on with your partner, but a lot of the work comes from working within. Yeah. And
100%.
two parties doing their own inner
Yeah,
work. So work with me or Emily if you
yeah,
want to receive more.
it can't go wrong. It literally can't go wrong. It is so incredible because if you think about life in any means, either as a single person or in a relationship or in a wider relationship, whatever it is, our attachment comes in when we believe that someone can give us something we can't give ourselves, or someone should
Mhm.
give it to us, or in order to be worthy or believe worthy, it has to come from the external. That's where we've gone wrong in life. That's where we've gone wrong with jobs and careers, or whatever. So, what is the actual solution? It's treating yourself with the respect and the love that you are wanting from outside of you. And then you're not attached to how you receive it, and then you'll probably receive it. But like the point is to not do it so that you receive it. It's that you were already innately worthy and you can receive it from yourself. I just think that is the key to life, isn't it, really?
Yes. I think we could all do more work on feeling worthy. I
Yeah.
feel like for me over the last year, I've kind of put together how I think people can receive or what are the kind of key pieces. So I'd love to hear yours on top of this. But for
Mm.
me, firstly, it's like having a vision, knowing what you want and what you'd like to receive, and actually getting really clear on that.
Mm.
Then figuring out what's blocking you. So
Mm.
like often that's maybe beliefs or like unconscious parts of you. So doing some of the more like shadow work and
Mm.
deeper look into it. And then there's like the worth and the detachment. Like how
Yeah.
can I feel worthy and how can I detach? Is there
Hmm.
anything extra that you'd add?
Yeah. So like I'd say the very foundational piece of knowing what you want is also knowing where expectations of yourself or society's expectations have been taken the wheel of your life. Because how I explain expectations are desires, but with attachment involved. So,
Hmm.
like, you may want a thriving business and you genuinely want that. But if you expect yourself to create it and you expect it to happen by tomorrow, that's where you go back into hustle and a state of unworthiness. So, knowing the difference between what's a desire and what's an expectation, and whether some expectations have a desire underneath, really important to connect to. Then there's another layer of how do we know what we want if we've been people pleasing our way through life or overgiven or overworking our way through life. So then there's the deconditioning process. So you can know what you want, but you might struggle to have it or create it or receive it if you're still operating from your conditioning. So deconditioning from hustle, deconditioning from people pleasing, which could be a year pursuit, or like it could take a few years, but it's so worth it. And then I would say, I mean, there's so many layers, and the way I teach the philosophy is like so many pillars, but like a detachment is definitely a key piece of receiving. Like you might want something, but if the expectations kick in, is when you're gonna block yourself from receiving it. So being able to like lean back when you desire to, your ability to trust yourself, to know how much to work and how much you don't want to work, and all those things, self-trust, communication, detachment, removing expectations. I feel like it's like so multi-layered that you might have step one that happens again at step six. But yeah, I feel like the key thing that I would say for someone is if, like, to work out what they want is knowing where they're operating from their conditioning and the expectations versus what they actually want, because then you're gonna see how that process is going to play out.
Yes, love that. It's literally what I do with all my clients. Very first
Yeah.
session is the vision. And if you could let go of everything, and I know, again, it doesn't just happen in one session either, but this is like the
Yeah.
seed, like where we
Yeah.
plant it. If you could let go of everything, if there was no barriers or boundaries with time or money, what would you want? Like if no one would judge you, what would you want? And then just started dreaming big. And,
Yeah.
like even if you don't think any of this is possible, like what are those little things? What is your soul nudging you to do? I have had a lot of people from the get-go know exactly what they want. Often it happens then with time, they start exploring or thinking, actually, this is what I want. I remember one client, our first session, this was very at the start of my business, came to me and she told me everything in her vision. And then like a week later, she was like, I've decided that that's all things I thought that I wanted based on other people. And actually, I want so much more than this. And I was like, even that is the
Wow,
magic.
that's
Because if you'd have never
amazing.
had that first session, you wouldn't have had this realization that that's not exactly what you wanted. And knowing that this can change over time as well. But
Yeah.
yeah, it is
Yeah.
expanding your awareness to know that you don't need to have the norm or what society has told you that you should have.
Yeah.
Everyone here has their own unique desires, vision, mission, purpose in this lifetime. And it's like unlearning all the things that you've
Yeah.
learned so that you can actually have that.
And tap into it. And we're such ever evolving humans. We are so multifaceted. Not everyone. Some people do like things a certain way. And I think, there's some people that thrive in a normal system. I wish I could sometimes, that I could thrive in a normal system, but they do and they love that. To be honest, this year I've been craving that a little bit. I've been craving more stability, but not to the point where I'd have to sacrifice myself, not to the point where I'd have to burn out, and probably to the point where I go into a system and I actually change it without them realizing that, like a school system, I'd have to change the system somehow because I couldn't settle for it. But I think it's so interesting when we're like ever evolving beings. And I think I said this to say it to recently. I think it was a client, where like I might, let's say I wanted to be a nail tech. I might do that for 3 months and I get to be okay with the fact that I don't want to do that again after 3 months. I could change that. And that's my choice in my life and my version of making money. Why are we shaming ourselves for what we want and knowing
Yeah,
when something's come to a natural end?
yeah, 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 yeah. Love this. I feel like this has been such a good conversation. I'm sure we could do another whole podcast episode, but is there anything else that you'd like to share before we finish up?
I feel like it should be something profound at the end, shouldn't it? Do you know what? I want to say something really different that I wouldn't
Go for
usually
it.
say, right? Because we've spoken so much about receiving. I want everyone to believe and like really feel like you're like the your own philosopher of life. Like as much as you get so much from like reading books and reading people's posts and, oh, that's an interesting perspective, I'll take that on and I'll embody that and blah blah blah. I really want your listeners to like be like thinking like, what do I actually think? What do I believe? Can I be okay with my mind changing? Can I be okay with being in a room with someone and like healthily disagreeing? I think that really connects you to who you are. And it's not about like arguing or being in a debate for the sake of debate, but I think a lot of what's missing from the world is a lack of self-trust and like this fear of things going wrong, or fear of mistakes. And underneath all those expectations is really what you think and believe. And that's how you're going to create the life you want. Like what you
Yes.
actually think, what you actually believe.
That was amazing. That gave me full body goosebumps as well.
It's amazing. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being on here. And I'll put all of Emily's details below for anyone who wants to find her and learn more. Highly recommend.
Yeah.
Have a good day, everyone.